Hello and welcome. Thank you so very much for joining us. It's an exciting day. Before we officially start, I'd like you to please select your preferred language. You can use the little toggle on the right side on the bottom of the page. It's got a little world icon. You can click on that and you can pick either English or French, as we will be using both French and English today. Thank you very much for taking the time. I know you're joining us on different platforms. I'm delighted to be with you today. My name is Eleni Giokos. I'm an anchor and correspondent for CNN, and welcome to the very first edition of the West and Central Africa Migration Journalism Awards 2021, brought to you by the International Organization for Migration, or IOM. It's such a huge honor to be here for the inaugural awards, and it's an initiative that was launched for journalists who have been covering some of the most pertinent social issues in the region based on what we call solution journalism. It's identifying and responding to issues on the ground, and the main topics are centered around environmental migration, migrant reintegration, awareness raising about irregular migration, and alternatives to irregular migration in the region. I'd like to give you a bit of context about the awards. We've seen 230 entries from 17 countries, and this was across various platforms, including print, online, television, as well, in both English and in French. Journalists have submitted smart, outstanding, and powerful work. It has been moving to see some of these stories. The platform will aim to further foster quality reporting in the region, as well as encourage journalists to pursue these topics in their coverage going forward, shedding light on migration from various perspectives on such an important platform. So the IOM is encouraging journalists to present people with a truer, more complete view of migration issues, tell migration stories in a balanced and ethical way to help migrants make informed decisions, share accurate information to help communities and families. And the work we'll be featuring today will have been published across those platforms I mentioned earlier, and they would have been published between the 1st of September 2020 and the 31st of August 2021. Today, we will be announcing 8 winners who will receive up to $1,250 each. So a big thank you to the donors who have made this happen, and they've created this incredible platform for journalists to be recognized for their efforts and the incredible impact that these stories have had to people on the ground. So a big thank you to the International Organization for Migration. And as we've mentioned, this is the first edition, and it's been funded by the government of the Netherlands under the project Migrants as Messengers, European Union under the Joint Initiative EU, IOM, and the government of France. The media partners have played an integral part of the process. So thank you to RFI, public and media relations partner that has helped propel these stories further, the APO group. It's great to have them on board. And finally, a big thanks to the high-level jury who's presided over the judging of these applications and who have spent time working through the stories for today's final announcement. It's been a culmination of hard work from all the stakeholders involved. And you can see the names on the screen there of all the judges. So a few notes before we start. Please ensure that you are on mute, so we can try and make sure that we don't have any technical interruptions. And good news, we'll be taking a few questions, and we'll be posing these to our special guests today. I encourage you to add those into the chat box. You can speak to me as the day goes on, and then we'll be posing those questions at the end to our guests. So I look forward to your comments and your insights as well. So as we start, I'd like to quote from one of my favorite poets who speaks candidly about the plight of the most vulnerable. Emmy Mahmoud is an American Sudanese poet and a refugee, and herself and her family had to flee Sudan when she was a toddler. And this is the line that really struck me, and I'd actually come across this years ago. I feel my feet rock back and forth on the hills my mother bought, begging the question, do we stay or is it safe to choose flight? My mind echoes through the numbers: 1 million gone, 400,000 dead in Darfur, 2 million displaced. And then she goes on to say, fact, my grandfather didn't want to leave home, so he died in a war zone. And perhaps this story is a microcosm of what happens for many people who are in very difficult situations. They are vulnerable and have to make tough decisions. So I thank you to the journalists that have been engaging in these stories and giving people a platform to voice what they are going through right now. So on that note, I'd like to kick off the event by welcoming our first speaker. He'll be giving us an overview of migration in West and Central Africa, and will also set the scene for what it takes to report on migration. Aisata Khan is the IOM Senior Regional Advisor to the Director General for Sub-Saharan Africa. Her area of work covered, among others, migration, human rights, economic and humanitarian fields, refugees, and health issues. Prior to IOM, she worked with the Organization of Islamic Cooperation for 18 years. Ms. Khan was appointed by the UN Secretary General as Central Emergency Response Fund Advisory Board in 2018, and she's also been granted by the Mauritanian government the title of Ambassador at Large since 2015. Aisata, I hand over to you. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Giokos, and sorry if I misspelled your name, but it is really a good and a great pleasure for being here today, particularly in this kind of setting, which is first of my kind for having the Journalist Award and praising the work of the journalists in such an important field of work. So I will speak in French. Mesdames et messieurs, chers amis et partenaires, chers participants, chères participantes, c'est vraiment, comme j'ai dit tout à l'heure, un honneur, un très grand honneur de donner ces quelques mots d'ouverture pour la remise du prix de la première édition du prix du journalisme sur la migration en Afrique de l'Ouest et du Centre. Je tiens à saluer en particulier l'engagement de tous les journalistes qui ont pris part à cette compétition, dont l'objectif est de mettre en perspective et au défi le discours sur la migration en Afrique de l'Ouest et du Centre, et plus globalement, la migration dans le continent africain. Ce changement de narratif sur la migration dans le continent africain est aussi un élément de leur travail. Ce discours est encore trop souvent biaisé de nos jours, notamment quand il s'agit de cette région du monde. Permettez-moi de vous rappeler quelques fondamentaux dont certains sont repris dans le rapport que l'OIM a édité avec l'Union africaine l'année passée sur le Migration African Report, mais sur la migration dans le continent africain et le changement de paradigme qu'on a pu observer dans ce continent. Tout d'abord, je voudrais soulever un élément. La grande majorité des migrants africains migrent au sein du continent africain, ce qui n'est pas connu, parce qu'on a cette couverture médiatique qui prouve le contraire, qui donne une autre perspective, mais qui ne prouve pas le contraire, mais qui donne une autre perspective. Un autre point important à souligner, c'est 94% de la migration africaine transocéanique se fait d'une manière régulière. Voici aussi un élément qui n'est pas connu du grand public. Enfin, les Africains et les Africaines comptent pour 14% de la migration globale seulement. En ce qui concerne plus particulièrement l'Afrique de l'Ouest et du Centre, la migration est une longue tradition, comme vous le savez, ancrée dans un tissu historique, économique, social, culturel et environnemental très présent. Mais elle est aujourd'hui encore l'une des régions où la moitié de la mobilité humaine est la plus importante. On peut parler de la migration circulaire, la migration du travail, on peut parler de la migration pour les liens familiaux, etc., etc. En ce qui concerne plus particulièrement l'Afrique de l'Ouest et du Centre, la migration est une longue tradition, comme j'ai dit. Une grande majorité des mouvements migratoires dans la région sont principalement liés au travail, facilités par les accords de libre circulation mis en place par le gouvernement et dans le cadre de l'espace ECOWAS, comme vous le savez. La région fait face aussi à un grand nombre de déplacements du fait des situations sécuritaires que nous observons actuellement, mais aussi dans le contexte des catastrophes aggravées par le changement climatique. Et je pense que la COP26 qui se tient actuellement a soulevé beaucoup de ces aspects, notamment dans le continent. Et hier encore, on avait un événement sur l'impact du changement climatique dans cette partie de l'Afrique de l'Ouest et du Centre, avec des pays comme le Burkina, comme le Mali, qui ont fait des témoignages qui sont poignants. Donc, en 2020, nous comptions 820 nouveaux déplacés internes dans la région, majoritairement du fait des inondations. Mais ces chiffres ne reflètent pas toutes les réalités des migrations environnementales dans la région. Je voudrais juste poser la question de savoir qu'en est-il de la migration liée à la dégradation des sols la raréfaction des ressources en eau et à l'érosion côtière, et leur impact sur les tensions communautaires et sur les mouvements transfrontières. Les chiffres ne suffisent pas à décrire toutes les réalités vécues par nos communautés dans la région. Si je vous adresse ce tableau aujourd'hui, chers amis et chers participants d'un peu partout par le monde et du globe, c'est qu'il est nécessaire de reconstruire ce récit, de le recentrer sur la grande diversité de la migration intra-africaine et de la raconter d'une perspective africaine. Et c'est ce que ce rapport, African Migration Report, a essayé de faire en touchant plusieurs domaines importants pour l'Afrique, tels que l'urbanisation, tels que la démographie, tels que le changement climatique dont j'ai parlé, tels que la cohésion sociale, etc. etc. C'est pour toutes ces raisons, je pense que les journalistes ici présents et que cet événement particulièrement met l'accent sur le rôle que ces journalistes jouent et pour démêler les complexités de la situation, non seulement auprès de l'opinion publique, parce que vous êtes le vecteur important de transmission du message et du vécu, mais aussi auprès des décideurs, car votre bienveillance et votre éclairage donnent des perspectives qui puissent s'ancrer dans certaines réalités et qui restituent les historiques que vous faites. C'est aussi pour toutes ces raisons que nous avons pensé cette première édition du prix du journalisme sur la migration en Afrique de l'Ouest et du Centre. Ce concours, ouvert depuis le 15 septembre, a reçu plus de 200 candidatures de journalistes dans la région, ce qui montre l'intérêt pour la dynamique, la question migratoire. Et nous sommes très heureux de récompenser aujourd'hui 8 de ces journalistes pour la qualité de leur reportage. Et je salue aussi le travail de ceux qui n'ont pas été retenus, mais qui ont apporté aussi vraiment un travail formidable et une perspective qui va servir l'OIM dans le cadre de son action future. Pour conclure, mesdames et messieurs, permettez-moi de mentionner les initiatives qui ont permis la mise en œuvre de cette compétition. Le projet intitulé « Mise en œuvre des politiques globales d'immigration environnementale et les déplacements liés aux catastrophes » en Afrique de l'Ouest, financé par le gouvernement français. Le projet Migrants comme messager financé par le gouvernement néerlandais. Et je reviens du Nigeria, d'une field de visite, et je peux vous dire que cet impact, l'impact de ce projet sur les migrants de retour est grand. Nous avons pu sentir l'importance d'une inclusion des migrants dans le cadre de ce programme. Et aussi l'initiative conjointe financée par l'Union européenne. Et permettez-moi enfin de féliciter à la fois les organisateurs, les partenaires, APO et RFI notamment, les membres du jury et les journalistes. Et je voudrais vous remercier vous aussi, Madame Giokos, pour cette importante introduction. Je vous remercie.
Thank you very much, Assata. It's really such an honor to have you on the same platform. There we go. Sorry, I could hear the French translation there. So Assata, really great to be on this platform for you. And you so succinctly put it, and it's making me think about the way that I cover migration issues. And, to just, again, just reiterate, we have to destigmatize the African story and African migration. And I'm glad you mentioned the Continental Free Trade Area, because that is definitely going to test Africa's migration. It's going to test our appetite for migration on the continent. So thank you very much for those words and for those insights. I look forward to hearing from you a little later. As we've established today, the ceremony is a culmination of hard work by the applicants, and we're here to celebrate you, to celebrate all of the submissions, 230 submissions. And, even though there are only going to be 8 winners, each one of you have done incredible work. So I'm delighted to welcome our next guest, Honorable Abike Dabiri Arewa, Chairman of Nigerians in Diaspora Commission. She is a former member of the Nigeria Federal House of Representatives, representing Ikorodu constituency in Lagos State. She was the chairman of the House Committee on Media and Publicity. She was also the former chair of the House Committee on Diaspora Affairs. In 2015, she was appointed as the senior Special Assistant to President Muhammadu Buhari on Foreign Affairs and Diaspora as well. So Honorable Abike, welcome. And I'd like to start off with a question, if I may, so you can set the scene for us. Why put migration stories in the spotlight? If possible, please share concrete examples of how good reporting on migration has impacted the lives of the diaspora.
Thank you very much. And thank you for inviting me to this event. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Background noise, but go for it.
Madam, and thank you for inviting me to this event, which I think is a very, very important event. And as you said, I'm here to share two experiences. One as a journalist who actually covered human angle stories that involved, trampling on human dignity, which also included migration, as well as my job now as chairman Nigerian Diaspora Commission and advisor to the president on diaspora. So I think this is a very, very important topic and very crucial, especially at this point in time. Now, talking about sharing my experiences, so I'll begin with your question, which is how I was going to start my topic anyway. For me, for instance, during the Libya crisis, I think what I saw in Libya remains one of the most horrific, horrendous things I've ever seen in my life. Now, there were stories, number one, the story started from the media, thanks to the media that brought it up, about Africans being sold as slaves. And of course, there were quite a number of Nigerians affected. So the president of Nigeria, President Muhammadu Buhari, set up a team. And he told us, now go into Libya, go into those detention camps and bring back Nigerians stranded there. We were about a six-member delegation. I was part of the delegation. So we went right inside the detention center, my brothers and sisters. In my 15 years of journalism, 12 years in parliament, I've never seen anything so horrific in my life. We had human beings packed on top of one another, like they were just, sardines in a can. There was no dry eye, and we saw all of them. Then one of them held to my cloak. You see, the thing is, in that cell, they couldn't speak because they were not allowed to. But one of them spoke my local language to me, held me by my leg and said to me, listen, just get us out of here. I can't count how many people slept with me in this detention center. I got pregnant. They knew you guys were coming. Now this guy, one of them put something right inside my abdomen, just stripped it inside, penetrated it, and as you can see me, I'm bleeding. So the pregnancy was forcefully aborted. I'm bleeding. We're going to die here. Get us out of here. And of course we did. So in a Fargo, we got 2 planes, 3 planes. So we brought them back in batches, 3,000, 4,000, and all that. So in a go, we're able to bring back almost about 10,000. Prior to that time, the International Organization for Migration, to whom we're deeply grateful, had been bringing back stranded Nigerians from Libya. But with the massive thing, we brought back, a whole lot of them massively. And guess what? IOM is still bringing back. That is the challenge today. Despite all we said, despite all the stories they came to tell, one of them said to me, listen, we drink their urine. We drink their urine. But you know what? Those stories were told. It was in the media. But till today, we still have Nigerians still stranded in Libya. Just 3 days ago, I sent a message to IOM saying, another help. They want to come back. So here's the thing. Are we reporting enough? Are we talking about this enough? Because I believe that if we are, you can't stop migration, regular or irregular. But when I see them all the time, they tell me one thing. If we knew what we were going to say, we would not go. If we knew this was going to happen, we definitely would not take that journey. So that's the question. Why do our people still embark on those dangerous journeys? So the media will have a major role to play. Yes, we know that there's the challenge of the root causes. No jobs, unemployment, seeking a better life. But here's the thing, you're looking for a job, but you go to a place where you don't even get the job, and you're not getting the job, you're dehumanized. You see, a migrant has rights. Why we should not encourage irregular migration? A migrant has rights. They are seeking hope in hopelessness. And the media has a major role to play in that regard, in telling the stories, in bringing the stories to the forefront, in constantly pushing it on the front burner of discussion. I don't think we're doing enough in that regard as media practitioners. So I'm hoping that this forum and this encouragement to select the best writers or the best journalists in this field should be a major step forward. Now, we're talking about telling stories. There's one of the girls who came back. I mean, I'm at the airport to receive them. I give them a warm welcome. I work with my team, and we ensure that IOM gives them money and all that. Those we brought back, we also try to give them some form of money, support, and all that. So there was the first experience, the first time I went to receive those that came in, that the president brought back to Lagos. I'm like, okay, you're all girls, all 4 of you. What can we do for you? Take this number, call this number, okay? And then let's see what we can do. Now, 3 of them called. 1 returned to Libya. I was told she returned to Libya. 3 of them called. 1 said to me, look, I just want big money. I don't want anything. Anyway, 1 said to me, I just want to survive, whatever I can do. So on my own, I said, okay, what do you want? I gave her 100,000. She needed 100,000 naira, which is not less than today, like $120. Do you know that with that $120, that girl went to learn how to bake, how to make cake. And today she's one of the biggest cake makers in Edo State in Benin. She now trains others in bakery. She has a small restaurant, and she told me she's going to be getting married. She now found somebody she's going to get married to. So, you know, and in her own case, I made people tell her story because I had a personal encounter with her. You know, she herself told her story. And people came to support her. And today, in fact, she's a face for the British Council as one of the survivors of migration. So my fellow journalists, because once a journalist, always a journalist, I'm still a journalist, it is important that these stories be told. And who else will do it but you? As a 4th estate of the realm, you hold government accountable to the people. And you also tell the stories, human stories of people that have suffered from migration. Number 1, they don't deserve what they get. They don't deserve the treatment they get. None of them went as a criminal. For instance, we brought back several returnees from Lebanon. For one of them, it was like, come to Lebanon, you're going to learn, you're going to teach people how to speak English. When she got to Lebanon, there was no teaching job for her. She was made a domestic servant and she had to be sleeping with both the husband and the wife. And she said, listen, I want to come back. This is not what you told me to do. And you know what, for journalists, you need to expose traffickers. As long as traffickers are walking about freely, human trafficking will not stop. And then also a major thing to focus on is the issue of managed migration. So here's the thing. These countries need the services of a whole lot of them. The services are needed. How can we encourage irregular migration to become regular migration? We're having that conversation with IOM. We're having it with World Bank. In fact, IOM, as I speak to you today, is launching a program in Lagos called Match. In other words, you can have availability of jobs. Let's advertise them and let's see who qualifies. And then we on our own in Nigeria should be able to set up training for them so that you go prepared to do the jobs that are available. So journalists can discourage irregular migration, can make government accountable and responsible to do what government needs to do, provide an enabling environment, make jobs available. I mean, let the system, the private sector survive in such a way that jobs will be created. Let us have small businesses. So like the little girl, like the lady I told you, just $120 changed her life. So the issue of reporting is very crucial, of putting it on the front burner, of setting the agenda. Journalists set the agenda. If you decide tomorrow that everything is about those who have suffered from migration, you change the agenda. The issue of Libya became the topic all over the world because the media set the agenda for us and we realized what was going on and every country took steps. After Nigeria sent us to Libya, other countries did the same thing and brought back the people from Libya. So I think that emphasizes the need that we just must have these stories on the front burner. And I also believe that with what we're doing today, more journalists will be encouraged. If I was still a journalist, I'd just go for reporting on migration issues. So it's very, very important. And then stress the rights of the migrant. A migrant is not a criminal. A migrant is looking for hope, like I said, in hopelessness. A migrant just wants to survive. A migrant should not be treated like, you know, he or she committed a crime. And managed migration should be encouraged. So to round up, I'll just say that the issue of migration is very, very important. We should set the agenda, and we should ensure that we have balanced reports on migration so that this can serve as a point of data collection for relevant bodies who will give accurate statistics of trends in migration. And this can form part of information needed by decision makers in terms of migration governance. So migration reporting can definitely be factored to shape options and formulate new ones. And migration reporting will give the sensitive nature of migration, and it is imperative that every one of us as journalists who are specialized in migration reporting, and that's another thing, we need more specialists in migration reporting. I do not think we have enough. So all specialists in migration reporting should do everything within the ethos of journalism. Honesty, integrity, fairness, balanced information, and accountability. So I hope that moving on, we pay more emphasis to putting migration issues right in front of all of us. Like I said, the issue of migration is becoming a humanitarian disaster. And I keep telling Nigerians when they return, if you survived irregular migration 10 years ago, not anymore. The world is getting tougher. So for every one of you journalists, thank you very much. I will look forward to this and wish every one of you that has been nominated success as we move on. Thank you very much for putting this together. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Abike. Thank you very much. Thank you for taking risks to tell stories. Thank you for being brave and giving a platform for people and the most vulnerable that don't get to be heard. And, you know, when I hear stories about human trafficking, and of course, CNN has done a lot of work in this space, it is unbelievable and really unconscionable to think that this is occurring, still very much so today. And we've put it under the banner irregular migration, but it's actually the irregular treatment of people, and it should change. It is honestly just something that is just unfathomable. So again, the journalists that are involved in the storytelling, it is about taking risks just as much as it is about investigating the story and trying to get the facts out. It is about risk taking so that you can try and shed light on this pertinent theme. So thank you very much, Honorable Abike. Great to have you on the platform, and I'm sure many questions are going to come through for you later when we open for Q&A. I'd like to move on to our next special guest. We've got Ibrahim Kargbo, a musician, songwriter, actor from Sierra Leone. He's also a volunteer with IOM's Migrants as Messengers Project, a project that is led by returned migrants in 7 countries in West Africa that use storytelling to empower young people to make informed migration-related decisions. He works with a community-based organization where they focus on youth empowerment, life skills, and community development. So Ibrahim, I'd like to welcome you. Thank you very much for joining us. And I'd like to start off with the question why you think good reporting on migration is important for people in Sierra Leone and what impact it has on the ground. And if you could give us a sense of the link that it has to the work that's being done with migrants as messengers.
Yeah, thank you very much for such a wonderful question. My name is Ibrahim Kargbo. I'm a Sierra Leonean and a returned migrant. You know, for many people in Sierra Leone, migration is just the movement of people from one place to another in search of a better life, whether internally or beyond borders. Journalists in Sierra Leone have a wide media space and following they should use to filter in the right information for young people. From a personal point of view, I could have benefited from good migration reporting instead of taking a decision that led me to take a journey through the irregular way. If journalists should use their media space well enough to report on or to filter in the right information about migration, many young people will benefit from it. You know, there are lots of people in Sierra Leone who leave the shores and borders of Sierra Leone in search of a greener pasture elsewhere so that they can change their lives. Yeah. From a personal point of view also, I think that if journalists try to filter in the right information for young people, they should definitely benefit from it. And the right information can also empower young youth to seize opportunities that are within their countries and elsewhere. without risking their lives. I believe journalists in Sierra Leone have not been using their media space well enough to inform young people about migration and the risk of irregular migration. As a result of lack of this right information, about 8,000 to 10,000 Sierra Leoneans leave the shores and borders of Sierra Leone in search of greener pasture elsewhere, which has caused them few successes, many deaths, and excruciating sufferings. So therefore, it is extremely important for journalists in Sierra Leone to report correctly on migration. If journalists whom young people depend on for information fail to fulfill their role as gatekeepers, some of these young people will turn to social media and fall into the trap of misinformation and fake news. Journalists are therefore key players in reducing the staggering numbers of young people leaving the shores and borders of Sierra Leone in search of a better life, only to find themselves in desperate situations. Therefore, I am happy to be able to contribute to good migration reporting myself in my own way. And as a migrant, as messenger, volunteer, I'm still trying to learn from journalists and at the same time, share the right information into different channels. I thank you.
Ibrahim, thank you very much. You know, I love the fact that you spoke about shedding light on these important stories so that people can help, help people make informed decisions. And I think this platform is going to encourage journalists to want to look at migration stories a lot more deeply. So thank you very much for your contribution. We are now heading closer to the moment that you've all been waiting for. And it is time now to, we're close, we're getting there. But we have a very special guest with us that is going to give us some context about the awards, the purpose of the awards, the role of the jury, highlighting best practices on reporting on migration. And I'm delighted to welcome our next speaker, who's the jury chairman and founder and chairman of APO Group as well. I'd like to welcome Nicolas Popinier-Mognard. Thank you very much, sir, for joining us. It is an honor to be on the same platform as you, and I'd like for you to start and take it away. Give us a sense of why we are here and why the APO Group decided to join us on this platform.
Well, thank you, Eleni. In a few minutes, indeed, we're going to know the name of the 8 winners in all the categories. I'll be joined by Aissata Kane to announce the name of the winner. So, as you mentioned, we received 230 applications coming from 17 countries in West and Central Africa. And of course, we needed a jury to review all these entries and applications. We had 60 members coming from the IOM, UNHCR, UNICEF, Agence Française de Développement, obviously Honorable Abike Dabiri-Erewa, which we just heard, Chairman CEO of Nigerian Diaspora Commission. We also had the President of the Portuguese Diaspora Council, Felipe de Botton, and the Senior Vice President of the African Development Bank, Swazi Tsabalala. All these members of the jury are coming from, the development community or are related to migration on their daily work. It's part of what they are doing. As also member of the jury, we had more unexpected members of the jury. We had Fatma Samoura, which is the Secretary General of FIFA, and Amadou Gallo-Fall, which is the President of the Basketball Africa League. And I'm participating one way or the other to a lot of media awards across the continent. And when you look at the composition of the jury, you can have a clear appreciation of who is supporting what cause. I mean, the jury being a member of the jury basically means that you give time. And as you can imagine, people like Fatma Samoura, Secretary General of FIFA, or Amadou Gallo-Fall, President of Basketball Africa League, are very busy, but they wanted to support that media award, and they decided to give their time to support the West and Central Africa Migration Journalism Award. I want to thank all the members of the jury, the 16 members of the jury, for their time and dedication. I will now ask IOM Senior Regional Advisor to the Director General for Sub-Saharan Africa, Aissata Kane, to join me and announce the first 4 winners.
Thank you so much, Nicolas. I have the great pleasure to announce the first winner, Mr. or Mrs. Olatunji Olebekbe from Nigeria. For the submission, the climate crisis is driving violent conflict over farmland. The type is an article. Has been produced in English, and the media outlet is Vice. So congratulations to Mr. Olagbe.
Olagbe, are you there? Congratulations.
Wow, thank you very much.
You've got 30 seconds. So yes, tell us, how do you feel?
Well, I just like stories like this, 30 seconds is small, but like basically I wish like, you know, when people read and when these kind of stories get noticed, I just hope they drive more decision makers, the guys in power. I hope this thing drives them to make the proper decisions when next year having their meetings, they are making their policies and all that. And I'm very, very grateful.
Latunji, thank you very much, and congratulations to you. It is commendable to see that you want to embark on change at the very top. So thank you very much and congratulations. I wish you could hear everyone cheering and clapping for you, but I promise you we all are. So congratulations. So Aisata, hand over to you and please announce the next category and winner.
Thank you, Eleni. So the next winner is Ali Abdelkader Foulati. He's from Tchad. Monsieur Foulati est tchadien et il a le nom en tout cas le titre de l'article qu'il a soumis, c'est Tchad à cause des inondations. N'Djamena traverse des moments difficiles. Et c'est un article écrit en français dans le blog du Foulati. C'est un plaisir d'annoncer à Monsieur Ali Abdelkader Foulati ce prix. Over to you, Eleni.
Can you unmute yourself?
Assalamu alaikum. Bonjour.
Salam.
Comment allez-vous? Vous allez bien? Je suis très ravi de vous retrouver sur ce panel. Je suis vraiment, c'est l'émotion, c'est l'émotion. Je n'ai même pas pensé à ça. Vraiment, c'est un article que j'avais écrit sur mon blog, de mon blog RFI. Et ce que vous faites là, c'est une bonne chose. Ce que vous faites là, ça me fait vraiment plaisir. Je suis ému de joie. Vraiment, merci. Je remercie aux organisateurs et aux membres des jurys qui ont accordé ce prix à Modeste.
Votre
Vraiment.
émotion est partagée.
Merci. Je partage ces prix avec mes amis de Chat Info qui m'ont appris beaucoup de choses chez vous, chez eux là-bas. Je remercie personnellement Almardi et Mamadou, les PDG de Chat Info, et l'équipe de Wenak Labs qui m'a forcé et qui m'a donné quelques orientations sur le blogging et en fait d'intégrer le monde du blog RFI. Je remercie particulièrement Salim et Sandrine. Merci à vous, Galvan.
Ali, congratulations. You know, just seeing your smile is so moving. So thank you very much for joining us today and congratulations once again. Aisata, I can see that some people are going to be really shocked by the fact that they're taking the win home, but it's absolutely moving, isn't it?
Yeah, it is actually. I am also very emotional by his emotion. So it's my great pleasure again to share this emotional part of this ceremony. The third winner for this competition is Innocent Duru from Nigeria. He has submitted an article titled "Our Battle with Depression, Stigmatization After Return from Libya," and it has been published in the media outlet The Nation, outlining the stories of the reintegration. So congratulations to him.
Innocent, are you online? Could you unmute yourself? Congratulations. We're all clapping for you.
Yes, I'm online, but I'm just, be busy by this at the moment. I'm so very much happy for this report for my investment and the government migration. And here,
Your line isn't very good. Could you just try and keep the microphone away from your mouth? Yeah, it's just slightly convoluted. The line isn't very good. Could you try again?
I was almost last year when I lost the video. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Innocent. Unfortunately, the line was not great, but thank you, and I wish you all the best. Congratulations. So, Nicola, it's over to you now.
I think, in fact, Aissata has still one announcement to make, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, indeed.
I'm following.
You came up as pinned on my screen, so this is why I thought it was you next. You're like the main person. I don't know why. Okay, I don't know why that's happening. Aissata, over to you.
The last winner that I have the great pleasure to announce is Mr. Samuel Osei Frempong. He's from Ghana, and he has submitted an article titled "Catholic Relief Services Offers Renewed Hope to Returned Migrants and At-Risk Migrant Communities." This article has been published in the Ghana News Agency. So congratulations to Mr. Osei Frempong.
Congratulations. Are you online? Samuel? We're all cheering for you. Congratulations.
Yes, I'm online. Hello?
Hi, Samuel.
Hello?
We can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, I don't know what to say. First of all, I want to thank all the organizers, the jury members, and everybody involved in this organization of this event. What I want to say briefly is that African governments should invest in the youth, as we advise them to stay at home, because they are our future. I don't think we should waste them on adventurism and some funny traveling fantasies. We can't afford to lose them. The continent needs them, and we must find avenues and strategies to make Africa a happy place for them to flourish. That's what I want to say. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Samuel, and congratulations once again.
Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you to you, Aissata, for handling the 4 winners. It is so moving, and I look forward to hearing the next 4. And Nicola, this is where you take over for us.
Yep. Thank you, Eleni. So the next winner is from Niger. His name is Amidou Diop Amadou. The title of the piece is Anneker, l'espoir renaît. It's a video in French, which has been published by ORTN, so Office of Radio Télévision of Niger, and in the category Story of Reintegration. Amidou?
Congratulations. Hamidou, are you there? I wish we were doing this in person because we would be hearing enormous cheers.
Absolutely.
Hamidou? Yeah. Soon, I think I'm hoping for the 2nd edition. Nicola, we need to make that happen.
We need to make two editions a year.
Yes. Is Hamidou not online?
Okay. Well, then we're gonna move to the following winner. So it's from Nigeria, Chinedu Ekeja, in the category Awareness Raising About Risk of Irregular Migration. The title of submission is Youth in Benin City, Nigeria are picking up in high demand in Europe and other parts of the world. It's an audio which has been published by the radio KU Radio. Congratulations, Chinedu.
Chinedu, congratulations. Are you online? Chinedu?
You need to turn on your mic.
If you could unmute yourself. Oh, there you are. I can see you. Chinedu, congratulations.
Can you hear me?
I noticed you earlier. Congrats. Welcome. You are still muted.
Chinedu, can you turn on your mic?
I think he's frozen now.
Okay.
Chinedu, are you there? Okay, we'll try come back to Chinedu. I think
Sure.
what I can see, yeah, we've lost him, I think. Okay.
So we still have two winners to announce. So the next winner is Fatou Sagar Diop from Senegal for a piece titled Migration Sud-Sud. So Migration Sud-Sud, opportunité et potentialité économique en dérive. It's an article which has been published in Hebdo magazine, so in Senegal, in the category awareness raising about risk and irregular migration. Congratulations, Fatou.
Fatou, congratulations. Please unmute yourself. We'd love to hear from you. Are you online?
Oui. Vous m'entendez?
Fatou, welcome.
Oui.
Congratulations.
Oui, on vous entend, on vous entend.
Oui, je vous remercie. Je suis fière et honorée de recevoir ce prix. Et je remercie aussi l'Organisation internationale de la migration et ses partenaires. Et je dédie aussi ce travail aux membres de ma rédaction. La première équipe avec laquelle j'ai travaillé, c'est-à-dire la Gazette, c'est parce que aussi c'est avec cette équipe-là que j'ai fait la formation qui m'a permis de faire une petite mise à niveau par rapport aux questions migratoires. Je l'ai dédié aussi ce prix. Merci beaucoup.
Thank you very much, Fatou. And the next announcement, next winner, the last winner is Oyinkan Sola Adekunle from Nigeria. The title of the submission is Labor Migration During a Pandemic. It's a video in English which has been published by TV 360 Nigeria in the category Awareness Raising about Risk on Irregular Migration. Oyinkan Sola, can you hear us?
Oyinkan Sola, are you there? Congratulations. The floor is yours.
No, I guess it's difficult to find the mic button when you're so happy. You just.
I know, right? I'm just picturing everyone jumping up and down.
You know.
Oyinkan Sola, are you there? Okay, I'm trying to check. Is Chinedu back by any chance? Because I know that we had him and we lost him as well. I don't think he's back. Congratulations to everyone. These are incredible stories that are going to not only make an impact in the way that we see migration, but also is going to encourage so many of your colleagues to do more of this. I think Chinedu's back. I can see him on screen. I can see Chinedu, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Thank you very much.
I want to give you an opportunity to come in. How do you feel?
Thank you. I had a very fledgling network connection here. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, let me take the opportunity to thank the organizers of this award, the International Organization for Migration, and other people who have been behind the scene working to make sure that this comes on successfully. I feel really glad to have been honored with this award, really. I was telling stories about migration is something I've been very passionate about. But at the point I decided to shift the attention a bit down to, okay, what are we doing at home here? Honorable Abike Dabiri mentioned one of the returnees that was given $120. Now she's flourishing in Benin. Her name is Gift Oje Jonathan. She's one of the characters in my story. I tried to follow her up right from when she came back. And I've been very passionate about the way she goes about her skill from the time she started learning skills to the time she started her business. She has been very, very dedicated. So she was one of the characters in my stories. And I just wanted to show the fact that beyond, getting these people back, attention needs to be focused on people who are trying to be exceptional, who are trying to go international. You don't have to be in Europe. You don't have to be in the United States of America to sell your skills, to sell your services. Like Gift Oje Jonathan, in one of the cakes she made, which she told me, she made it here, and someone in Italy saw the cake online before she contacted her. She made a cake, for a wedding cake for her. It was over 200,000 naira. which is roughly close to $400. So that's the kind of thing I'm focusing on now. People who are trying to go out of their way, to do stuff instead of traveling out of the country or traveling through the irregular way abroad. So I want to thank each and every one of you, and I want to promise that from now on, it's just going to be more stories, shedding more light on what the youth are doing, as an alternative to going abroad through illegal means. Thank you very much.
That's incredible, Chinedu. Thank you very much for joining. I'm glad you could make it and share that insight with us. I think the narrative is absolutely changing, that excellence can stay in Africa and can flourish on the continent. We don't need to leave to excel and to find opportunities. There are opportunities around us, even in the most hardest of situations. I'd like to congratulate all the winners, your perseverance, your dedication to telling the stories, but also to all the submissions, to everyone that was involved. 230 submissions, 230 stories about migration, and so many more that didn't submit. This is a sector that I think we should be focusing on a lot more. And it's not only about African media, but Western media as well. It is absolutely vital to tell these stories. A reminder that all the submissions are available on the Reporting Migration website. I have gone through some of them. Please go to the website as well. Immerse yourself in the stories, in the journalists, what they're about and what they have to say. On that note, I would like to introduce our next guest, Mr. Yves Rockler, the Deputy Director of RFI in charge of African languages. And he wasn't able to join us today, unfortunately, but did send a video message, and he's going to give us context about why they opted to become a media partner, the role of media in challenging the narrative around migration in West and Central Africa as well. So here's the video message.
Bonjour à tous, et tout d'abord je voudrais saluer les organisateurs de ce concours. C'est en effet une initiative particulièrement louable pour tous les confrères de la presse africaine qui se débattent souvent dans les plus grandes difficultés économiques pour délivrer une information rigoureuse et une information de qualité. Choisir de traiter ces sujets liés aux migrations n'est en effet pas un chemin de facilité. Et je pense qu'il faut souligner la qualité de beaucoup des articles qui nous ont été soumis, les efforts pour décrire les réalités, pour recueillir des témoignages, en résumé pour présenter au plus large public tous les aspects de ces sujets, même les aspects les plus cruels. Car c'est bien là un rôle irremplaçable de la presse, aider tout un chacun à connaître les réalités, gaies ou tristes, et à prendre les bonnes décisions. Combien de catastrophes auraient pu être évitées, combien de vies auraient pu être sauvées si chacun avait connu objectivement l'étendue des périls et les avait connus au bon moment. Cette situation, nous la connaissons bien à RFI, elle fait partie de la vie du continent et bien sûr, nous nous en faisons l'écho par de multiples canaux. Tous nos programmes abordent régulièrement ces questions, notamment grâce à des reportages, des témoignages, indispensables reflets de ces réalités vécues par les migrants. Au-delà de cette info généraliste, France Média Monde, la chaîne allemande d'information internationale, la Deutsche Welle, et aussi l'agence de presse italienne ANSA ont mis en place le site Info Migrants, cofinancé par l'Union européenne. Info Migrants, c'est un site d'information destiné à lutter contre la désinformation dont sont victimes les migrants où qu'ils se trouvent. Et tout ça en 3 langues, en français, en arabe et en anglais. Voilà, pour terminer, je voudrais vous parler d'un axe majeur de l'information sur les migrants et pour les migrants d'ailleurs, ou pour les candidats migrants. C'est bien sûr notre réseau, le réseau de RFI en langues africaines. Nous émettons quotidiennement en mandinkan, en fulfulde, en haoussa et en swahili. Nous tenons beaucoup à ces programmes car ils touchent des couches beaucoup plus populaires que notre antenne en français. C'est donc un moyen très sûr de sensibiliser directement ceux qui sont prêts à se lancer dans l'aventure sans en mesurer tous les risques et toutes les conséquences. Je voudrais enfin vous présenter une toute nouvelle émission lancée sur RFI Haoussa en partenariat avec la Croix-Rouge internationale. Elle s'adresse directement aux réfugiés et aux déplacés qui...
Okay, I think that we have a technical glitch with the video there. So this video and I think the
Contact
whole
avec tout ou partie
line.
tenir la presse africaine dans ce domaine est
Oh, there we go.
manifestement salutaire. Je vous remercie.
Okay, unfortunately, we lost part of that video, so we will move on now. And I'd like to welcome back Nicola, Aissata. We also have Abike and Ibrahim standing by, and we have a few questions from the audience that we'd like to pose to you. I'm going to bring in my colleague, Yasmin, as well, who's going to help with that. Yasmina, there are a few questions that are in French. Do you want to pose some of them to our guests, please?
Yes, thank you, Eleni. We have a few questions that came in French. The first one is from Boudal Nandiat, a journalist in Senegal and rédacteur en chef from Dakar Express. And she would like to know what IOM and their partners are doing to train journalists to better treat information on migration in Africa.
Right, who would like to take that question? Abike, I think you should jump in here. What needs to be done to further train journalists in migration stories and how they can best handle this topic? If you could unmute yourself, please.
It's actually an issue I've taken up with IOM Nigeria here. And it's part of the collaboration I think we should have, that there should be a special focus on training, because they do a lot of training. So if you're training different people, I think there should be a focus on training journalists on migration reporting. So it's a conversation we're having with them, and I hope we continue that with them also after this, that training actually is very, very critical. And I even said, I'm sure we have a lot of people that will be willing to even join in the training for virtually nothing. So yes, I agree with you absolutely. IOM needs to do more in that regard. We'll work with IOM in Nigeria and take it up with them and try and push it forward as one of the possibilities that IOM can look into in terms of training. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That was a great question. Anyone else want to tackle that one, Nicola? Do you want to weigh in here?
Well, I think the media award itself, let's not forget it's an inaugural media award, is a very good first step, right? To draw attention on those problematic, on the role the media can play in changing the perception, changing narrative. I mean, it's the first edition, as you just mentioned. I'm really hoping there will be more. I'm hoping it will be extended to the entire continent, and I'm hoping a category will be dedicated to the international media which are based outside of the continent, because eventually that's one of the things we would like to change, the way they are communicating and talking about migration, the way they are talking about Africa. So I would like to see entries coming from specifically media which are not based about Africa, but talking about Africa. And I think it's the first step. For the rest, I know IOM is doing workshops in different part of the continent. I think they are doing what needs to be done, and we are glad to support them.
Absolutely, and setting the bar for migration stories in Africa and changing the narrative. Yasmina, what other questions do we have, please?
Thank you, Eleni. We have another question from Minamo Jobsou Ezekiel. I'm going to read the question out loud in French. Rédacteur en chef du journal de N'Djamena Hebdo Tchad, le concours a été initié par AOIM et ses partenaires montrent l'importance qu'ils accordent au travail des journalistes. Malheureusement, tous les organes n'ont pas la même possibilité de dépêcher les journalistes sur le terrain afin de collecter les données. J'aimerais savoir comment OIM compte faire pour appuyer les organes des pays tels que le Tchad, où certaines provinces sont reculées et difficiles d'accès. Merci.
Who would like to take that question? Aissata, would you like to jump in here?
Yeah, thank you so much, Eleni. And linking it to the previous question to see that how IOM is putting the resources, the capacities, training, how IOM the programs to ensure that the journalist has access to the information first, to the database that we are having, to the collection of data that we are gathering for them to be able to inform their articles, their journalistic work, and to better reflect the realities that we are collecting and we are seeing on the ground, and to have this verified information, first-hand information from the organizations to be able to provide the right message that is behind and the right picture of what the journalistic aspect they are covering on migration issues. I think that with regard to the importance of the journalist work, je vais répondre en français sur cette question. Je pense que le travail des journalistes qui s'appuie sur la capacité d'OIM de générer, comme j'ai dit en anglais, les données et les informations réelles sur la migration, des situations de migration auxquelles nous faisons face et que nous accompagnons, mais aussi il y a tout cet aspect de capacity building, de comment l'information est à traiter, de comment ces données peuvent être interprétées et de comment est-ce qu'il faut redonner le message dans les langues, comme on a dit on a vu avec RFI, dans les langues de compréhension des populations que vous servez. Je pense que c'est une importante approche pour l'OIM que nous mettons en place à travers les financements, comme j'ai dit tantôt, du programme de l'Union européenne, d'avoir tout cet aspect de formation qui est mis en place, et à travers le Migrant for Messenger, nous couvrons non seulement cet aspect journalistique et ce discours qu'il est important de véhiculer, mais le discours, le bon discours, la bonne approche des questions de migration, mais aussi basé sur des vécus, basé sur les capacités de ceux que nous formons et basé sur aussi les priorités que nous avons pu détecter au niveau national, aussi bien pour le secteur journalistique que pour le secteur culturel, parce que nous avons été au Nigeria, il y a cette capacité de mobilisation des migrants de retour sur la communication, d'autres moyens de communication autres que le journalisme, à travers le théâtre, à travers d'autres moyens de communication qui permettent aussi de restituer ces données et ces réalités de migration que vous traitez au quotidien et que l'OIM appuie sans réserve. Over to you, Eleni.
Thank you very much, Asata. You talked about capacity building, and it's so vital because it needs to be backed by data. We need to understand what the trends are, and to take back the narrative, to truly take back the narrative on migration in Africa. We need those building blocks to be able to tell these stories. So incredible to hear what the IOM is doing. Yasmina, are there any other questions you'd like to bring to our attention?
No more French questions, Eleni. Thank you.
Fantastic. It has been incredible to hear from all of you, all our special guests. I'd like to give an opportunity to our speakers today to wrap up with final thoughts as we say goodbye. I'm also going to maybe push you to commit to a second edition of these awards. I'm allowed to put you on the spot, aren't I? Because the donors and the sponsors and everyone's involved. I see Amadou Gallo-Fall is also, sitting on standby. I'm hoping he's going to still be involved as a judge. I like to hold everyone to account and put you all on the spot. So Asata, I'd like to start with you before I give you a closing remark. I would like to hear from everyone and then you can close officially, but give me a few minutes.
No, thank you. I think that for the closing, not my closing remark, but the reflection that this ceremony award just brought to me is that having this forum of journalists, having these narratives well known, having the coverage of what's really occurring, and the Honorable Dabira has outlined some in Libya, but there are many, many migration theaters in other parts of the world that are keen to put in scene in a very, very real narratives, and those that speaks to the people, and the information sharing is important for an informed decision of migrating, because a migration is a choice, but this choice should be informed, and the people that are candidate to the migration, to the regular migration, which is safe, which is orderly and well managed, is something that IAM is keen to provide. So the platform, the journalistic platform, is a way of providing an information decision for those who are willing to migrate, and for those who has been through this painful journey and coming back, what are the realities, what are the opportunities that they can bring, and how IEM can support them in their reintegration to the country. What are the opportunities for a new life to them in that country?
Thank you, Asata. We'll come back to you shortly. Ibrahim, I want you to jump in here. You know, as a poet, as a musician, you tell stories. You have the power to move people through your art and through your work. How important is it? And I also, quoted a poet when we started as well. It is important to have voices like yours, isn't it? What are you hoping to do on the ground to get messaging out through your art and through your work?
Oh, thank you very much for that question. You know, lately the Migrant as Messenger project has been organizing different training for journalists. And doing those trainings, I've been able to interact with a lot of young journalists, and they are finding the session very interesting, and they're kind of motivated to jump into migration issues, because most of them, they don't have the idea or the information about migration. So they don't find it interesting. But when they join those trainings, they realize it's like, it was an eye-opener for them to know that indeed there are lots of young people like me and others who have traveled, lived Sierra Leone to get a better life elsewhere, and came back, and life for us have been very difficult. So I believe that by journalists, successful young journalists, trying to come together and join forces so that it can report issues on migration will benefit me and other young people like me, so that when we want to travel, we can, because as they say, travel is, everyone has the right to travel, but if you want to travel, you have to know how and when to do it so that you will be safe and travel orderly.
Ibrahim, thank you very much. Honorable Abike, last words, please.
Well, I agree with you that this should be more than once a year. And we at the Diaspora Commission will give as much support as we can. So I think this should be a bit more regular. And who knows, maybe even dovetail into having a conference or a seminar that we can all come together and actually share the stories. And like I said, this has to be on the front burner. So you can count on our support here. We'll be glad to be part of anything that you decide to do. And I commend you for even putting this together. I'm quite impressed. Thank you.
And thank you, Honorable Abike, for championing this sector of journalism and all your hard work. It is incredible to hear from you and see you in action today. Nicola, how important is PR and communications in the into the entire value chain? You're an important part.
If you don't mind, I will use my time to address a message to the winner of the award today, to make sure they understand and appreciate the importance of what just happened. You just won a media award. As APO, we are involved in a lot of media awards across the continent, and I want you to appreciate that that award can be the beginning of something. You have to find a way to capitalize on that award, something you need to add to your resume, something you can brag about for different reasons. One of the reasons is to be found in the composition of the jury, right? That award has been awarded to you by the United Nations, by the Secretary General of FIFA, by the President of the Basketball Africa League, very prominent people, which review 230 entries, and you are one of the 8 winners out of those 230. So that's something not only you can be proud about, but in the coming weeks, you need to figure out the way to use that to grow your career and to grow your profile, right? We've seen it all the time. I mean, it's an opportunity for you to become, a reference, become international, inspirational for young journalists. I mean, go into journalism schools, go back to the schools where you have been trained, and tell them about that award, and tell them about what you did with migration. Tell them how you won an award from the United Nations, and you're going to inspire them, and you're going to create a generation of journalists, etc. So I want to be sure you appreciate that it's not just something you're going to receive and put in a box. It's part of your journey now. It's part of your professional life. It's part of who you are. The United Nations, FIFA, Basketball Africa League, APO Group is telling you that you are doing an amazing job on that specific topic on the African continent. So become inspirational.
Nicola, thank you very much for inspiring all the winners. It is absolutely true. You have been recognized for your hard work, and you should put that in your Twitter handle. It should be part of your bio. And you see, of course, Nicola, there was a PR communication slant to your answer, of course.
Absolutely.
I mean,
Absolutely.
you're telling us how to capitalize on our win. Absolutely. There's always a slant, right? So own it, take ownership of it, and use it as a platform to encourage and inspire others. Aisata, I hand over to you for final closing remarks, and over to you.
Thank you so much. Really, I think Nicola puts the scene for the closing remarks for the winners, because this session is for them actually. And the recognition of their work is something that IAM values a lot. And IAM is counting on the professionalism that has been recognized today of these 8 winners, but also all the submission that has been done to this ceremony, to this award, that the journalism is a way of also helping IAM to make the governance of migration at the center of the policies, at the center of the public debates, at the center of the development debates, because the migrants deserve the role to be part of all these dynamics. And they are also contributor to the development of their societies, and they should be seen as such. And some stories that are unfortunately not coping with the human right of migrants should be also known from the large public, and in many of the languages that we can through the RFI or other media that we are having. Donc, en français, pour clôturer, je voudrais réellement remercier chaleureusement les participants de cette première édition du prix. Et l'OIM s'engage à une deuxième édition, Eleni, and we will see how we can do it physically, to have this emotion transpiring today, to have it live, and to be able to give big hugs to those winners. And le rôle des journalistes, comme nous avons vu, nous avons discuté durant toute cette heure, est fondamental pour informer l'opinion publique. L'opinion publique doit savoir ce qui se passe, aussi bien dans les opportunités que la migration offre, mais aussi dans les défis que les migrants font face. Il est donc fondamental de porter à la connaissance de tous les décideurs de la subtilité des réalités vécues par les communautés basées sur des faits, data important, et les analyses qui sont informées, en relatant de plus près les histoires des femmes, des hommes, des enfants dans notre région, sans concession aucune de l'indépendance du journaliste. Vous contribuez, vous les journalistes, à l'élaboration des politiques publiques, comme j'ai dit tantôt, plus justes, plus durables et plus inclusives. En ce moment, vous le savez, comme j'ai dit aussi dans l'ouverture, il y a le COP26 qui attire toute l'attention. Et pour l'OIM, c'est une importante conférence parce que les changements climatiques et l'environnement impactent les déplacements et la migration. L'OIM est engagé à transmettre les récits et les voix des migrants aussi dans ce contexte, et plus particulièrement dans le contexte des catastrophes et leur impact sur la mobilité dans cette région. Donc, ce forum politique est la COP26, comme d'autres qui suivront, et doivent permettre d'avoir ces récits qui mettent un visage humain sur des vécus qui sont là et sur des questions vraiment importantes du changement climatique pour la région. Parce qu'il faut, en tant que journaliste, aussi mettre en exergue ce qui est important dans la région et qui permettent une mobilité humaine qui soit orderly, comme on dit en anglais. Donc, dans cette entreprise, l'OIM considère que les journalistes comme faisant partie d'un des plus grands alliés, et nous saluons ce partenariat que nous avons. Et encore, félicitations à tous nos 8 heureux gagnants. Et pour conclure, je tiens réellement à féliciter les organisateurs, les partenaires APO RFI, les jurys, les journalistes, et aussi vous, Eleni, pour cette excellente modération et pour les débats qui ont été très bien organisés et bien ficelés. À la prochaine, Inch'Allah, l'année prochaine, sans doute.
Inshallah, I agree with you, Aisata. I am hoping that's going to happen. There we go. It has been such an honor to be on this platform with you. Yes, we've got very special guests from our incredible stakeholders, but I'm more honored to be on the same platform as the winners, and with, of course, the people that submitted the stories and the work that you've been doing, working so hard on doing. As Isata said, telling the stories of the men and the women and the children that are impacted, not whittling them down to numbers, it is so important. So I look forward to seeing more of your stories. I've been spending time on the website. I'm going to go and read through every single one of your works, and I invite you to contact me. I'd love to work with some of you so we can tell more of these stories on bigger platforms like CNN to take the stories to the world. I congratulate all of you. Thank you very much, IOM, and all the donors and sponsors for having me involved, and I wish you all the best. Cue round of applause to everyone, and looking forward to seeing you next year.